Hello. So you might call it the cable that changed history. In the 19th century, there were various attempts to lay cables across the Atlantic Ocean between Britain, Ireland and the United States. It took several failures, numerous bankruptcies, and over 10 years before they got it right. But eventually they did. And on the 27th of July, 1866, Queen Victoria broadcast a message to US President Johnson. And here is what it said. To the President of the United States, the Queen congratulates the President on the successful completion of an undertaking which she hopes may serve as an additional bond of union between the United States and England. And Johnson replied, writing from the Executive Mansion, to Her Majesty the Queen of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. The President of the United States acknowledges with profound gratification the receipt of Her Majesty's dispatch and cordially reciprocates the hope that the cable, which now unites the Eastern and Western hemispheres, may serve to strengthen and perpetuate peace and amity between the governments of England and the Republic of the United States. Signed, Andrew Johnson. Didn't people write and speak nicely in those days? Now, to send such a message by ship would take 10 days or more. Now it was a matter of minutes. So somebody came up with the slogan, 2 weeks to 2 minutes. And transmission speeds improved rapidly. Morse code became words. It was soon possible to send multiple messages at once. And by the end of the 19th century, Britain, France, Germany, and the United States were all linked by cable. Personal, commercial, and political relations were altered for all time. Now, back then, gold was money, of course, as were paper notes representing gold. But you couldn't send gold down the cable, nor could you send paper. But you could send a promise. And within a fortnight of Queen Victoria's message, that's what two parties who trusted each other did. And an exchange rate between the dollar and the pound was agreed and then published in the New York Times on August the 10th. And that is why, to this day, the pound-dollar exchange rate, GBP/USD, is known as cable. And that picture you see here is a portrait of those waiting for the arrival of one of the first messages. All money is a matter of belief, said Adam Smith, and he had a point. If you look at a £20 note, if you still use them, you will see the words, I promise to pay the bearer. Money is promissory. Now, of course, promises disappear. Gold doesn't. The two are quite different forms of money. One is belief, the other is real. Nevertheless, since the dawn of civilization, we have been using promissory money. In ancient Mesopotamia, man used mud tokens, a cone or a sphere representing a sheep, or a bushel of barley baked inside clay balls to log debts owed. Over time, he found it more efficient, rather than bake tokens in balls, to inscribe tokens in the mud for the same purpose, and that's how the first system of writing came about. In ancient China, man recorded his debts on bits of leather. After the invention of printing, he started using paper. Today, promises are recorded and exchanged between trusted third parties on computers. Millions, probably billions of promises are sent across the internet every second, transferring as quick as words, probably quicker. Not only does promissory money evolve with communication technology, it is often the spur, the impetus for communication technology to evolve. And now we have Bitcoin with its blockchain that obviates the need for trusted third parties altogether. And that's one of the many reasons it's so special. Here is a money communication network backed instead by mathematical proof and the most powerful and resilient computer network ever known to man. The trusted third party is the blockchain. Why would you not want to own a share of such a breakthrough technology? That effectively is what owning some Bitcoin is. Owning shares in a new monetary technology. And it's not like they're doing any rollbacks. Money has evolved like language. My purpose with this whole story is to illustrate a point. If you're sending promises, you need good communication tools. And what is then money then but a form of communication? So let's explore this further. It's often said, by me at least, when considering politicians, look at what they do, not at what they say. What we do says more about us than what we say. What we do with our money says even more. And what we do with our money communicates value, not just between buyer and seller, but across the economy. What is the price of this thing? What is its value? And the answer is constantly being sent and received, digested and acted upon. And so does the economy constantly, incrementally evolve and develop with each new signal. The how, why and when and what of what needs producing and where. So money then is like a language, constantly evolving and changing. Nobody's really in charge, not even central bankers. Our fiat system wasn't really planned, it's just constantly evolved with billions of people contributing in their own different ways, simply by using it. The architects of fiat money didn't plan what we have today, they just used it to get out of a tight fiscal spot, extenuating circumstances at the time. Similarly, nobody planned the language we speak today. Language is hard to plan and regulate, try as many have over the years and still do. It just constantly evolves and develops according to the use and needs of billions. The English we speak today is a long way from the English of Chaucer, Shakespeare and Dickens. It's a long way from the English used by President Johnson and Queen Victoria. There are probably fewer words, certainly fewer tenses. Grammar is simpler. Yet it is far more widely spoken. The network has grown. Mandarin may have 3 or 4 times more native speakers, but English is more widely spoken. There may well come a time when everybody in the world speaks it. It is the dominant linguistic network. Meanwhile, other languages fade away. Cornish has gone. Few now speak Welsh or Gaelic. The local dialects of France and Italy are disappearing. Similarly, there are no doubt a plethora of African, Asian and American languages that are on the way out if they haven't already gone. The question to ask is this: how scalable is the language? English has the potential to become the default language of the world, the language of trade. It's almost inevitable at this point. Despite having more native speakers, that's unlikely to be the case with Mandarin. It's certainly not going to happen with Gaelic, Neapolitan or Swahili. How many different monies have there been in history? Shells, whale's teeth, metals, paper, cigarettes, mackerel, packs in prisons, cognac, Zimbabwe dollars, Reichsmarks, denarii, farthings, shilling, shitcoins. Most have died. Most of those which haven't yet died will die. Only gold goes on, immutable and permanent. But as with transatlantic cables, you can't send gold over the internet. Only golden promises between trusted parties. Bitcoin is money for the internet. The US dollar is the global reserve currency. You can send that over the internet, but it's hard for people who aren't American to get US dollar bank accounts. Foreign exchange fees are expensive. Money transfers can take several days sometimes. Billions remain unbanked and thus excluded from the financial system altogether. The dollar is a national currency that is used internationally. A country, and several do, could use it as their national currency, but they would be also importing US monetary policy as well, and so subjecting themselves to US political whims, which is why most countries, with their own political agenda, issue their own currencies. Thus, though international, as a national currency, the US dollar is limited by its national borders and its politics. The same goes for any national currency. But language is not limited by national borders, or at least English isn't. If only there was an apolitical, borderless currency for the borderless medium that is the internet, then that really would be scalable in a way that no national currency is. A network that's evolved organically, voluntarily, and is constantly growing. You don't need a bank account to start using Bitcoin. You only need a phone with an internet connection. We're not far off the point when everyone who wants one has one, a smartphone, I mean. That means even the unbanked can use it. My argument is this: if money is language, then Bitcoin is English. It has the potential to scale that no other currency has. And even with the falls in price we've seen, the network is still 20% bigger than it was a year ago. Now that is growth. Just as a final aside, here's a nice little anecdote from not so long ago, when the pound had greater global recognition than the dollar. In 1889-90, in emulation of Jules Verne's Phileas Fogg, who went around the world in 80 days, American journalist Nellie Bly went on a trip around the world in 72 days. Here's a picture of her here, a very brave and beautiful woman. She took pounds, but she also brought some dollars, as she put it, as a test to see if American money was known outside of America. She went east from New York and didn't see American money until Sri Lanka, Colombo, where $20 gold pieces were used as jewellery. They accepted her dollars, but only at a 60% discount. It's a bit of an ask, though it's possible to get people to accept Bitcoin in the physical world, but that's not what it's for. It is money for the internet. And as such, boy, is it scalable. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, please subscribe to my Substack, and I'll be back with another video very soon. Until then, goodbye.